Well, worms and germs, welcome to another pus-filled episode of
The Movie Men Podcast.
The Movie Men Podcast. We are kicking off our first annual Spooktober, which is a title that I'm pretty sure is fair use because everybody kind of does a Spooktober. If it's not fair use, then that's not what this is called, and we'll come up with a different name at some other point. And please don't sue us. But
please don't.
I'm pretty sure we're okay to say that. We are nothing but honored to be joined by a guest today, but we'll get to that in a couple minutes. Mm-hmm. We're going to do a little bit of housekeeping right off the bat. Hit us with that, Pete.
Perfect. So, if you haven't done so already, please like, follow, subscribe on all our various social media platforms. You'll see those below: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Give us a like, give us a follow. You can check out our Patreon page below if you feel like supporting the show. And even if you don't, you can check out the Patreon page. You can check out our merchandise page, which is also at the bottom. And if you're not at that level of support, just give us a like and a comment. We appreciate the feedback on our various social media platforms. And please rate and review positively.
Yeah. And if you're not at that level of support, maybe self-evaluate. Do like a personality test, and then reconsider. No, in all seriousness, if you're a first-time listener, which happens often when we have a guest on the show, then welcome. This is a little different than what we normally do, but we have a lot of fun on the show all the time anyways. And so, yeah, check us out, and hopefully you will also find us remotely entertaining.
Mm-hmm. One more piece of housekeeping I forgot. As time flies, I forget about all these things. I want to give a shout out and thanks to all our Patreon supporters. And specifically, this is the first episode of October. So I'd like to give a loud and resounding shout out to Daphne, to Marshall, to Nate, and to Brenna.
Yeah, good for you guys. Thank you. You guys are amazing.
Literally, just some...
Literally, the reason I had sustenance today is because that's not true. All the money goes back into the show. I wish
100%.
I wish we pocketed it.
I don't. That would be awful.
It would be bad.
But obviously, some insider info. The reason they got a shout out is because they are Tier 4 supporters, and that's part of the perks of being a Tier 4 supporter is the monthly shout out, and there it is.
Absolutely. Along with like free merchandise and all kinds of, we'll come wash your car. Pete cleans gutters.
Yep. They get extra votes on our monthly votes. They get a lot of stuff.
VIP package all around. So anyways, there's something you haven't said in a really long time.
Oh.
Do you think you can do it? Do you want to do it?
I'm on the fence. I don't know if I want to.
Okay. I'll say
But maybe I should.
No, if you're going to say it, then I can't say it because it's your thing. Say it.
We're not alone in the universe.
Damn friggin' straight. We are here today with Jordan, our horror god. Not the god, but a god. When it comes to horror. Jordan, welcome to the show.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
Gentlemen.
It's been a long time. It's been a long time coming. We've been talking about this for a bit.
Yeah, I've been preparing for this. It feels like for a few months now, so that's good.
We're that midterm exam you've been preparing for.
Jordan, I've been preparing for this my whole damn life. Hello?
Hello.
Sorry, guys, I just muted myself.
No. Hey, that's okay.
I'd crack under the pressure too. It's all good.
That's a couple minutes in, he's like, screw this. And
I just dropped the call.
Yeah, he's like, second thoughts, actually.
You know what?
It's probably because I'm not a patron. Is that what you call them? A Patreonian?
A Patreonian.
Well, yeah, I feel bad now.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. I thought you had like a Patty and Selma moment where you're like, oh, shit, MacGyver. And you were just like...
I got Jess. Yeah, Jess is tied up, and I'm just...
Yeah.
She's got to go escape, so I got to go now.
Exactly.
I got to leave.
Exactly. So let's talk about horror. Is it fair to say that you enjoy the genre?
Yeah, that's probably an understatement, but yes, that's fair.
You actually write for a horrorfacts.com?
Yes. Yeah, I just started. So when all this COVID-19 stuff started happening, we got laid off work for 2 months in mid-March. So they gave me, obviously, just like everyone else here, right? We got a bunch of time to kind of focus on, what we want to do and our passions, and have, giving ourselves little projects and stuff. So I've always written, my whole life, but I've tried writing for like sports. Like I'm a big Bruins fan, and I write a lot of lyrics and songs and short stories. But I listen to a lot of movie podcasts and things like that. So I want to get out there and just write and review and critique and do those kinds of things. So
Sure.
yeah. So I just kind of posted something, and they reached out to me and gave me a chance. So yeah.
Cool.
Very cool. Very cool.
So how should we start this? My thought would be to kick things off by briefly talking about all of our experience with the horror film genre. I feel like it'll be far briefer for Pete and myself, which should just kind of give you some backstory into our limited knowledge. And then we just kind of hand things over to you and let you take us to school.
That sounds naughty.
Yeah.
It's most definitely not.
Okay.
I mean, let's not,
Well,
let's not close
horror
any
gets
doors.
Pretty naughty as well, too.
Yeah.
We're reaching naughty territory, I'd say, when it comes to film genres.
Right. Oh, exactly. The horror is like the genre where, they finish the script, they look at it and go, but nobody gets naked. Should someone be naked?
Yep.
I mean,
yes, there should be. So they got to rewrite the whole script.
She runs away from the guy with the knife. She could probably run less encumbered if she didn't have any clothes on. And so then they do a rewrite.
I feel like that applies for both the horror genre and any James Bond film. Like there's people sitting in a boardroom and they're like, there's not enough, nudity. Let's work that in.
And literally anything that Netflix produces. It's like there's one guy who works at Netflix and his job is to figure out, okay, at what point do we put gratuitous nudity in this kid show?
I had just heard or read, I don't know where actually I saw this, but I saw that America and Britain, they showcase the most boobs in their films.
Huh.
So I wonder why that is, but that's pretty funny because those two areas are obviously the forerunners of probably the horror genre, and
Sure.
obviously 007 is a British making, so that's interesting.
Yeah. So Pete, you probably have my guess, and this could be like I'm making an assumption here. My guess is that you have the least dabbling in the horror genre. So why don't you go first?
For sure. I feel like that's a pretty safe assumption. I didn't know really how to prepare for this question, so I started making a list of all the films, and some purists might agree that some are horror, some are not. But the list was actually...
Are two things, is that a list? Does that quantify as a list? Two?
No. It's actually about 19.
Oh, wow.
Again, some purists might not consider some. But my point is, I was surprised with how long the list was. I didn't think it would get this long.
Sure.
I only spent about 5 or 10 minutes. So,
that's a lot.
I guess my history with the genre, I would say it's best described as a love-hate combo. On occasion, I quite do feel drawn to it. If the setting is right, if the mood is right, I do feel like watching a good horror, scary film. But for the most part, I would say I don't. And maybe if there's a social aspect that kind of draws me to it, if someone says, "Hey, Pete, let's watch this film," I might be like, I have no interest in it, but I'm going to do it as a social aspect. As far as my history, limited exposure in childhood, so I didn't grow up with any films of a classic horror nature. I saw a few as a kid, more of the cornball variety. I'd probably say my most memorable kind of graduation that I say was the turning point of okay, I started watching some okay horror films, was when I was a teenager. I watched The Grudge and I rented it. I watched it at home alone in the dark, and I just remember the complete and utter paranoia, just looking over my shoulder every couple seconds, and it was simultaneously entertaining and terrifying. As far as what scares me, I feel like if there's kind of a Venn diagram, there's some things that I would say the supernatural scares me a lot more. And then if you move over on that diagram, the closer you get to human versus human conflict and interaction, that doesn't scare me as much. I mean, sure, if someone has a chainsaw is running at me, I'd be scared as heck if that happened in real life. But there's just kind of there's a misconnect between what's happening in the film and me not being scared, and I just don't find it believable. And ultimately, I'll wrap it up. I think what the reasons of some things scare me and some things don't, I think, with anything, what scares me is just a direct product of my own worldview, and what you and someone else might consider scary is a product of their worldview, and what we're comfortable with and what we're familiar with and what we find scary, believable, and just terrifying. So in a nutshell, that's my experience with horror.
Cool. What's what film has scared the shit out of you the most?
Who?
Would you say it's The Grudge? That experience was,
Yeah, I'd say that's up. I'd say that's up there. At the time, maybe The Fourth Kind.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah, I'm not going to burst any bubbles, but there was an aspect of me watching that film, and I wasn't sure if it was actually based on some real city in Alaska. Sure. So there was a component that I wasn't sure if it was real or not.
It's done convincing.
Yes. I haven't seen that in a long time. So thanks for bringing that one up. Oh, that's a creepy little flick there.
It is. I'd say more recently, scary on different levels. I'd say the three most that have held up, I'd say Us and Get Out by Jordan Peele, and I'd say The Witch.
The Witch.
Can I just ask you, what film do you prefer watching? I know they're totally different.
Yeah.
Do you Get Out or Us? Which one do you think is a better, I guess is a better horror film? I would say Us would be probably the better horror film, right?
Yeah, I think you're probably right. I don't know which I'd say is the better horror film, but I'd say which one I preferred more was probably Get Out.
Right. Yes. Yeah, for sure. I could see that. It's like a Twilight Zone episode.
My feelings on that are mixed. I think Us had me more stressed out with suspense.
Yes, me too.
But I also we reviewed the film Us, and my appraisal of it was I don't know if there's a film more riddled with plot holes than Us. It's just so many things that it's okay, but what about but why? And what about this?
It.
And
yeah, Get Out, you can kind of peel back the layers, and it all kind of still makes sense a little bit, but you start peeling back Us, and it kind of falls apart.
Sure. Yeah, I would agree.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry for derailing you there.
No, that's good.
Do you have anything else to add, Pete?
No, that's it. That's
okay. So for me, horror has again was not a genre that I was, I didn't grow up watching horror films the way I grew up watching comedy or stuff like that. Yeah, horror was always, there's a few select memories that I have growing up, and again, it also all depends, I think, what you classify as horror. So like for instance, I grew up with the Tremors movies, at least the first Tremors movie. I grew up with Tremors being a part of my childhood. But as a kid, I never identified Tremors as a horror film, but I guess technically it is. I didn't, for whatever reason, I didn't see it that way. Tremors to me was more of an action flick, right? More of like a fantasy action flick. I'm trying to think. As a kid, there'd be just the odd time. I think if my dad was like out of town on a business trip and it was just me and my mom home alone, she would like show me a scary movie when I was probably too young to be watching them. Like I think whatever year Boogeyman came out, we watched Boogeyman. And I don't think I've seen it since, so I don't know if it holds up. But I remember, like, as a 9-year-old, Boogeyman's friggin' terrifying. But I did grow up very much into like the Halloween scene, right? Like one of my favorite films of all time is and has always been Edward Scissorhands. I grew up with Beetlejuice. I grew up with, right? So like stuff on the darker Halloween-esque side, that's my roots. So horror seems like a natural extension of that. But it just wasn't, it wasn't a big part. It wasn't a big part of my life growing up. The horror film that did me in, and I think this one's really interesting because it was the first horror film that I ever saw in the theater, which probably contributed to it. Because everything else that I'd watched up until that point, like I said, grew up with Tremors, grew up with Poltergeist, like the original Steven Spielberg's Poltergeist is a phenomenal classic. But I went with my cousin to see Paranormal Activity, the first Paranormal Activity. And at this point in time, the only other real entry to my knowledge, and I wasn't aware of this other film at the time, I don't think, from the found footage category, which is now grossly overdone, was the Blair Witch Project. But yes. Blair Witch Project was several years old at this point.
99.
Almost 10 years.
Yeah. And so I wasn't aware of it. And Paranormal Activity did a couple of things I think really, really right. One is they don't have any credits, right? Like the film, if you sit down and you watch the film, there's nothing about the film that indicates this is a work of fiction, right? The fact that they're selling to you, this is a documentary that we've put together using actual footage from the LA Police Department. They do everything that they need to from a post-production standpoint to sell that to you. The other thing that they do really well is they use two actors that nobody had ever heard of, and no CGI or no noticeable CGI, right? Like they'll remove, ropes and pulleys and whatever they need to, but it was all very grounded. Everything that was happening was very grounded. So when Katie gets pulled out of the bed and down the hallway, it's just a very simple effect. And so we left the theater at the time, right? I wasn't aware of the found footage genre. I didn't know that was a thing. And so I watched this movie, and the word going around, what the movie wanted you, part of the marketing was, this is real. And so we left the theater, and the movie ends with Katie getting possessed. And then it comes up on the screen. There's like, Thanks to the sheriff department, yada, yada, yada. Mika's body was found on such and such a date. Katie's whereabouts remain unknown. And we left the theater terrified. Me and everyone I was with, we had a 45-minute drive home from the theater. It was completely silent. Nobody said anything. We just got in the car. We were quiet. Someone tried to talk at one point. The other people told them to, like, just shut up. Stop talking. Don't talk about the movie. And we drove home, and I got home at, like, midnight, and I sat up in my room with the lights on for, like, another 3 hours because I was petrified. And it wasn't until, like, the next afternoon that I was, like, reading online and discovered, oh, it's bullshit.
Yep.
And now
and
now it's so overdone. But it's one of those things that the circumstances were just right. It was a new genre mostly.
Yep.
And so the first Paranormal Activity was able to scare me in a way that the found footage genre will never be able to do again. But because I was sold, I thought this is real. This is like, holy shit. Like, everything I just saw actually happened. And because of the limited use of CGI, if you hold a worldview that allows for this type of stuff to come to happen, then everything you saw is 100% believable.
Right.
Right. It's not like zombies rising up out of the ground and like this overuse of CGI. It's not like Poltergeist where you see a girl getting sucked into the TV and you go, I mean, could happen, I guess, but really. Whereas this was like, no, man, the girl, like, the chair gets thrown across the room, the girl gets dragged down the hall, they put baby powder out in the hallway, and, like, footprints appear.
Well, because, it was so subtle. Like, it was almost a little too subtle, and that was the creepy part.
Yeah.
It was like they were just doing minuscule little minute movements and things. Like, it wasn't this big spectacular thing. So
what's genius about that is because they used the same angle every time, right? It was like the bedroom tripod camera. And because what was happening was so subtle, it made you, like, lean in. It made you really look. So that way when something did happen, you were already leaning forward in your theater seat to try to figure out what was moving on the screen.
Right.
And so then if there was, like, a bang or a jump scare, it genuinely got you, terrified the hell out of you. So that's mostly my experience with horror. I mean, I've seen many horror films. My girlfriend and I recently within the last year, worked through the Saw films, which excessive gore doesn't do it for me. But I think the Saw films are geniusly written. I love that, you'll be sitting down to watch the next Saw film, and it's not until the last 20 minutes of the film that you're 100% sure where in the timeline it falls.
Right.
Right? You're like, all of a sudden, you're like, oh my God, it's a prequel. And and everything's connected, and so I've seen that. I've seen all of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. I've seen the Halloween remake, the Rob Zombie Halloween remake.
Okay.
I just recently rewatched the first Unfriended film.
I don't know if I've seen that.
And then watched the second Unfriended, which is interesting, and we'll talk about it at some point, because it's.
I didn't even know there were two.
Yeah, so the sequel is the Dark Web one, which is actually better than the first. And but I think is really interesting because it's a fun twist on. I think it's a fresh breath of air for the found footage genre.
Well, yeah, I agree. Did you watch that Searching movie with John Cho? Is that his name, from Harold and Kumar?
Oh yeah. Is it a found footage one?
It's one of those, like, on the internet.
Like a screen capture.
His daughter goes missing, so he's kind of searching her computer and doing all this searching around trying to find her, right? So
right.
And it's with it's John Cho. I can't remember who else. It's been a while, but it was
good.
Yeah, it was good, pretty good.
I like As Above, So Below, which is a found footage film that takes place entirely in the Paris catacombs.
Yes,
which is
that is
fun.
actually an interesting film.
Which is a great setting for
It
it's
is,
just a perfect
yes.
setting. The Insidious films, which I've seen the first three. I liked the first one. I loved the second one. I thought the second one made the first one better. The third one was like a prequel, and I
was
didn't
in
care
until
anymore.
Darth Maul in the first one.
Yeah.
That's everyone's critique, I think, about that one.
But Tiny Tim with Tiptoe Through the Tulips, man, I
Yes.
keep coming
Yeah.
back to it. I keep coming back to it.
Too. Yep.
Just
And
of
the
note
baby.
with this,
Yeah.
just
The
of
scream.
note for As Above, So Below. Two things. I almost was interested in going on a tour of the catacombs in Paris, but one, just the film conceptually kind of freaked me out, but also like the 4-foot ceilings kind of were a bummer for me. But
You're a tall
the
guy.
film definitely threw me off.
So stuff like that. And then I just this last weekend watched The Conjuring. And I followed it up by watching the next film in the universe that was released, which is a prequel, Annabelle. The Conjuring gets like 9 out of 10 for me. It was so good.
Yeah.
Annabelle was like a 4 out of it, and I wasn't interested. I didn't care.
Are you gonna watch the universe
Yeah, man. We're going
as it
through it.
unfolds though,
Yeah.
like in a linear story? Or are you gonna...
No. So the plan. So I went online, right, and I was searching. I'm like, okay, Conjuring universe. Do I watch it in chronological order or do I watch it in production order? And everyone said you can do both, but a lot of people were recommending production order, so I'm going in production order. So they say, even though the timeline's going to jump around a bunch, they say it still makes sense. You can still track with it relatively well. So stuff like that. I've seen all the Child's Play, Chucky films, the horror ones and the non-horror ones. Just, a lot of, I like to do, I'm a completist. Right. So if I've seen,
No, really?
so if I've seen one James Bond film, I've seen them all. No.
You guys are only like just over halfway through those, no?
We're
18?
like 18, 17, 18.
27.
We're getting there. There. But yeah, if I've seen one film from a franchise, I'm going to watch all of them. Right? No matter how bad they get.
Yeah, you picked
No matter
the wrong
how
one
bad
with
they
that.
get. Which is why I've seen all of the Leprechaun films, not just the first two. The second one's
you
okay.
Put yourself through torture.
The first one's got like a young, very attractive Jennifer Aniston in it,
Right,
and I'm
yes.
like, okay, I can get behind this. Warwick Davis is never a bad thing.
He's great. Yeah.
But I think once we reached Leprechaun Back into Hood, I was like,
Or like, actually, you know what? Leprechaun in Space was awesome, so I'll give it that.
That was a gratuitous nudity film, if I've ever seen one. Everyone gets naked in space. I don't, it's.
Speaking
part
of
of
that, I
survival.
actually just watched, probably a couple weeks ago, I just watched Leprechaun Origins.
Is that the new one?
No, I don't.
That doesn't have, because there's a newer one that doesn't have Warwick Davis in it.
Yeah, so I think there's two newer ones. I think there's that one, and then Leprechaun Returns. Here,
Okay.
hold on. Anyway, Leprechaun Origins doesn't have like what you know as the Leprechaun. Like he's some creature, like
Right.
weird creature in this one, and it's not good, guys.
Right.
Like it's.
But
I feel bad saying that, but it is not. It's not good. That's it.
so I was thinking I hadn't seen many horror films, but as I'm listing them, I guess I've seen my share, right? I've seen the two new Stephen King It films, right? I haven't seen the Tim Curry one. I got to do it. I got to sit down and do it. But I've seen the new ones. Loved the first one.
I loved it. Yeah.
The second one could have been good if they had actually spent more than 5 minutes on any of the visual effects. The CGI in that film is so bad that it just pulls me out of it which is a shame
know.
because the first one was so good.
Yeah. I mean, there were parts in the first one where I was like, okay, this is a little gratuitous.
Yeah.
But it was great. Like, it was a great story. You know, I loved those kids.
Oh yeah, like
For sure.
It's such a wonderful coming of age story. And I think I said this to you, Pete, before, because I'd seen it long before you had. And I said, even if you're not into horror, there's so much great character development.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yes.
And you just love these kids.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Especially Eddie. I think the kid that plays Eddie is just a phenomenal young actor. But yeah, no, it's you know,
if you're not the biggest horror film fan, you forget that it's a horror film.
yeah, until
You really do.
You know, and the great thing, the great thing about the first It movie is that Pennywise isn't even the scariest thing in that film. The scariest thing in that film is the redheaded bully that like carves lard ass or whatever into the stomach of fat 8th graders. Like,
Right.
that kid is terrifying. But I digress. So I think that's pretty much it. That's my piece. That's my piece on what I know and what I don't know. And as you mentioned films, Jordan, I'll probably, there'll be the odd one I'll chime in and go, oh yeah, I've seen that totally.
Well, yeah, definitely. Like, do you guys got like a pen and paper ready? I would say definitely jot some down.
All right. Open up a Google Doc.
I would because I think maybe not some of the really intense ones, but I'm thinking the ones that kind of started the genre off.
Sure.
Especially in the Universal territory. I think those are just cinematic masterpieces that, if all cinephiles and film lovers and things, I think should at least see them once.
Oh, and I've seen Cats. Cats scared me.
That is, I'm still
the
in
new
therapy.
one?
Yeah. Yeah, with Rebel Wilson and
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
And,
no, I haven't
Keep
seen-
it that way, dude. Keep it that way.
yeah.
Yeah, those. Well, I mean, the CGI in that one scared me. Just looking at the trailer.
Taylor Swift's jiggling feline breasts for whatever creative
weird.
decision that was.
Yeah, and that there are people out there that were, loving that film.
That's So, talk to us about horror, Jordan.
All right. Well, okay. So where do you do you want me to just start off kind of saying what it is to me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Would you think that would be a good place to start?
Sure.
All right. Well, okay. So I guess I'll start off with, so I've been into horror as a young gaffer just my whole life from the time I was born. No. From the time I really could remember, honestly, like I used to read the Fangoria magazines, right?
Sure.
Those old ones, used to find them in old thrift stores or whatever.
Right.
And just I didn't know what a horror film was, essentially. I just kind of looked at the cool makeup effects and the weird creatures and whatever, and I was like, yeah, those are cool. So that was pretty much what it was to me until I saw my first horror film, which I can't even remember. I want to say was probably A Nightmare on Elm Street, honestly, because I remember having my neighbor, because I have 2 older brothers, right? So I guess I'll preface that by saying I have 2 older brothers who are 6 and 7, 8 years older than me, right?
Oh, wow.
So as I'm, I'm 5, they're 11, right? So they got me kind of looking at these things probably younger than I should have been. So I remember kind of sitting in the basement with my brothers and the neighbors. They were friends. And then me and the next door, the daughter was my age. Her name was Paige. So I remember sitting downstairs in the basement with all of them watching, I believe it was A Nightmare on Elm Street. And me and her had our faces shuddered into each other terrified, just shivering and shaking and trembling, and there's my brothers, you know, and the neighbor, just nonchalantly just watching the film, not caring, probably not the best, but I remember after that though being so scared that the next day I honestly I just wanted more. Like I just wanted to get every horror movie and do the exact same thing to myself over and over again. I just thought it was like, I don't know, the adrenaline, something happened in me where I was just so electrified by watching these films, like honestly.
Well, and I think there's something so, like I've said this to Pete before, for me it's that it's similar to a roller coaster. Right? So when you ride a roller coaster, there's that feeling of like internally, the motions that you're feeling physically are motions that it would normally be associated with you're about to die. Right? You're free falling, you're doing all of these things. It's fast, it's upside down. So there's a safe element of danger. You feel your body's going, you're in danger, but you're really not.
Yep.
And that's what makes a roller coaster so much fun and gives you that sort of adrenaline as your body's going, shit, you're going to die. But you're really not. And so for me, horror is the same way, right? Horror is fear, true, actual fear is something that we don't, it's probably one of the emotions that we feel least often. Right? You'll feel sad, you'll feel happy, you'll feel embarrassed, but true actual fear is not something we usually experience very often. So to me, there's something
physical fear for like our own well-being.
Sure. Yeah, right? And so there's something to me so gratifying about, being able to expose myself to that in a controlled, safe setting. Right.
And I think fear is it's a motivator of sorts. Like it really, when you're, when you experience true fear of anything, it could be anything, fear of your life, fear of, if you have children, fear for their lives. I think
Sure.
it's a true motivator to really, kind of maybe take it on, head on, experience it directly and try to normalize it a little bit. And I think that's maybe I was normalizing these things because I had seen them in these magazines so often.
Sure.
That I was kind of the things that were scaring me, because I remember being a scared child. I remember the nightmares I would have would be of me like being abducted from my home, like not by aliens, like by a burglar coming in and stealing me from my bed or something like that. It was just these irrational fears I had as a child, and I feel like when I watched these films I was able to like externalize them and extinguish them and feel like the hero or the final girl, right? And feel like I could take it on. And yeah, I wanted to be the man. I wanted to be powerful and strong. So I think I wanted to watch these films and, just take it on.
So being so immersed in it now, does it ever happen? When is the last time it happened? And can it still happen? Do you watch films? Do you watch a horror film, a new horror film ever anymore, and get scared? Or are you so desensitized to it that element's gone?
I don't get like, I can't sleep and I'm having nightmares, scared.
Right.
But I get, I do get creeped out, and I do get, like I'll turn the lights on, like before I go to bed, I'll check everything and turn the lights on.
Okay.
I do kind of weird things like that, but I don't, like, it never keeps me up at night or anything like that. But yeah, every once in a while, one will rattle me a little bit.
Do the hairs on the back of your neck ever still stand up?
It's gotta be chilling. Like, it's gotta be.
Okay.
And I find more, like, the older movies that I watch, like I go back in time and watch some of the old, those ones tend to be able to do it, I think, more than some of the newer ones, honestly. They just have that, there's more of a psychological, I think the psychological side of things is what really creeps me out, and it's not the gore and the things that I know is fake, right?
Right.
And so it's and I think the older horror movies dealt more with the psychological aspects because they didn't have the budgets or the special effects or anything like that. So
The Exorcist gets me every time.
yeah, I think so too.
Just
Me
because
too.
what they're going through is so horrific
sure.
and
It
so
is
relentless
horrifying.
and yeah.
And what's the most terrifying aspect of The Shining? For me, it's not the gore or the horrific scenes. It's the psychological aspect,
right? It's the family's protector losing his mind and trying to kill his family.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he's supposed to be protecting them, but he's unable to do that, and that's terrifying. Yeah.
Cool.
All right. So I guess that's kind of what horror is to me. Like, it's a way to externalize my fears. It's a way to just look at things in a different way. As like I'm a happy guy. Don't get me wrong. Like, I don't, but I don't always think everything's honky-dory. And I think when I watch these movies, it kind of makes me feel a little bit better in my real life. Like, oh my gosh, like in some of these horrible, especially psychological ones, like things that really do reflect real life in some of these horror movies, like things could actually be a lot worse. And and it kind of, instead of watching a comedy, sometimes we're like, why are these people so happy? They're so like happy, and that's not realistic a lot of the time. They're like, people aren't this happy all the time. People aren't constantly making jokes, and it kind of is like, why? It kind of makes me feel a little bit like, why am I not laughing all the time or making jokes all the time? But I think that's okay. Like, I think there's a happy medium where, yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and that leads me. I think this is kind of a good segue into something that I was thinking about this morning. What I feel like what pulls me out of a horror film, what makes me roll my eyes and then lose the ability to really become scared outside of a jump scare, right? Because I mean, there's scared and then there's startled. Right? Lots of films startle me. But to be scared. And I think what pulls me out of it is when I stop believing it. And it happens for me quite often, right? So quite often, both directors and actors will start their career out doing horror films. And we'll get into that. There's a whole thing to that. There's directors I want to talk about that Jordan probably knows started out in horror, but maybe Pete doesn't. But often you end up with actors who are pretty fresh, pretty new in the acting world. And so sometimes you end up with somewhat janky performances. And that really pulls me out of it. That and writing where... because you were talking about like with comedy, when you go, well, but people aren't like this. People don't act like this. And I find that a lot of the time in horror films, though, where, it's like, okay, but at this point, he would have run. Like, why are they still in the house? What? There's everyone here should be scared out of their mind. Why is he opening the closet? Well, just don't check leave the house and call the cops. Like, what are you doing at this point? And to me, the biggest, I went to the theater. This wasn't even by choice. There was a girl who wanted to go see it. I went and saw the remake. I think it's the newest remake, but it'll be 10 years old at this point, of Prom Night. And it's a bad film. It's not a good movie. But there's so many, like, there's so many, why, if what you're expecting to find when you open the closet is the guy with the knife who you know wants to kill you, why are you opening the closet? And so I think good writing in horror is almost harder than good writing in other genres, because you have to properly convey how people would realistically act in this horrifying situation, but without the movie only being 5 minutes long, right? Because often the way they would actually react is just to peace out. And so you have to come up with some sort of plot device that keeps them invested in, right? So in Poltergeist, well, Caroline's we got to get our daughter back, right? Or same thing with Insidious, right? Like we can't just give up and run away. Or often
in Blair Witch, they're stuck in the middle of the woods. They can't leave.
Right. And I think a genius one that they use over and over and over, but I've never grown tired of it, is where it's like, well, it's not the house that's haunted, it's you that's haunted. So if you leave, it's just going to follow you. So we need to deal with it.
Right.
And that, to me, is really scary, right? Because if it's just a shitty house, then get the hell out of Amityville and don't come back. Whereas if you're haunted, then you're screwed, right?
Well, I think that's why slashers too went the way of the dodo bird.
Right.
For the most part, because it was just mindless killing. It was just a masked villain with some sort of weapon just killing teenagers having sex.
Friday the 13th. Stop sending kids to this camp.
Right.
How is this camp who is insuring this camp at this point? What is the insurance company every summer that signs back on and goes, "Yes, we will insure you"? But no, I don't know. To me, it's just interesting. And I think when a horror film doesn't scare me, it's because they're doing things that I don't think the person would actually do in real life, and they're just doing them to set up a scare. They're doing it to further the plot. Right.
And it's like, and though that's almost like an action flick where a lot of the time they're like setting up just for the next set piece. There's not much story going on. It's just sequences leading up to the next kill. And pretty much they're setting everything up for that big kill. But like, I think why I get drawn, even though, because I do agree, yes, especially in the 80s, with the heyday for slasher flicks and the splatter films and whatever, they didn't have great acting, especially they didn't have big name actors because they had no money, so they couldn't pay for much, really. They couldn't pay actors, they couldn't pay for lavish sets, and they'd have to do a lot of guerrilla filmmaking where they would just kind of shoot places they weren't supposed to shoot and get kicked out and whatever. So I think what pulls me in, other than the acting, is all of the other hurdles that horror does have to jump over. I think also with the special effects and the practical effects and makeup, it's easier to kind of stay involved and interested in the film, even when the story pulls you out. Whereas in a comedy, if the story pulls you out, that's it. There's not really, the jokes aren't landing and the story's pulling you out. Well, there's nothing really else there keeping you there, right? Whereas in a horror film, I think there are other aspects, especially the horror genre, like the fans are very different, because I could watch a horror movie and say, here's my rating for the horror movie. As a film, it's a 2. But as a horror film, it's a 10. Like,
right.
Does it pull you out, like talking about low budgets and stuff, does it pull you out now when there's a recognizable cast member, when you sit down to watch the new horror film and of course there's Patrick Wilson's in this one, or Paris Hilton shows up in House of Wax, which
I love that
because she dies. Everyone got excited because Paris Hilton gets impaled in House of Wax.
That's a better movie than I think that it gets credit for. But yeah, that was a good scene.
It's because Alicia Cuthbert's in that one too, isn't she? I think Alicia Cuthbert is. I don't know. Anyways, yeah, I remember House of Wax freaking me out. But yeah, do you think?
Yeah, you're right. You are right, though.
Do you
Alicia
think?
Cuthbert is in
Yeah.
there. Sorry.
Do you think on the whole, horror films should stick to casting people? Do you think it's scarier if we don't know who they are, versus
Uh, I don't know. That's a hard one, I guess. No, because like I'm the guy who's like, hey, like my genre, like everybody like horror because
Right.
it's great. So that's good for me because I want horror to be on, on the in the limelight. I want it to be in the forefront because I think it is underappreciated. So I do like, especially when Jordan Peele and some of these big guys are getting in, like Chris Rock is doing the new Saw movie, right?
Yeah. Well,
So that's-
which is called
Spiral.
Wow.
Spiral. Yeah. And the trailer looks really good.
And it looks like Seven.
Yeah.
It looks like a crime, like a gritty crime
Yeah.
movie, but
think
it's
it'll be
like
cool.
with the horror aspect. And I think that's great. I love that. So
Do you think
yeah,
do you think Tobin Bell will show up?
I hope so.
I hope
He's
so.
getting old though. No, I don't know how
but
old he is.
that voice, man.
Yeah.
can you-
He's
you know,
amazing.
it's
He's the best part of the whole franchise.
Yeah, he is Jigsaw. Like he's
Yep.
got, yeah. Cool. Yeah, no, I get your point, right? People like Ewan McGregor lend credibility to the genre when he
Right.
shows up in something like
Yes.
Doctor Sleep.
Yeah, and it turns people's heads, right? So, oh well, it's a horror movie, but Ewan McGregor's in it, so I think I'm gonna go check it out.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah, I think that's great.
Cool.
Yeah.
Back to you, sir.
All right. Well, all right. I guess the best place to really start is from the start, obviously. So,
When a mommy and a daddy
yeah, make a horror movie.
love each other very much.
It's called Mom and Dad with Nicolas Cage. No. That's actually a movie.
Everything with Nicolas Cage is a horror film, isn't it, Pete? Is that true?
Quite honestly. Except
Yeah,
for
wait.
Raising Arizona.
And
Can I settle this
National
quick?
Treasure. Yeah.
Oh, and National Treasure. Yeah.
Who, you don't like Nicolas Cage?
Pete doesn't know.
No. I'm not saying I don't like Nicolas Cage, but I'm saying he's in a lot of trash.
You think he's
Well,
got a 1 to 100
hold on.
ratio of good to shit films?
Let me just
Yes.
One sec
Yes.
here while you guys go. So you say he's in a lot of trash.
Correct.
I'm just gonna take a quick look at how many acting credits he has, because
it.
I'm pretty sure he has 107 acting credits. So if he has some trash in there, I think that's okay, right?
Agreed. Even
I'm not-
Spielberg's made some shit.
I didn't say whether it was okay or not. I'm just saying I think he's in some trash.
Have you gone back and rewatched Gone? Have you watched Gone in 60 Seconds yet, Pete?
No.
Watch
Been
it.
a long time.
So good. It's a good movie.
Memphis
I'll
Reigns.
here's the thing. I'll watch Gone in 60 Seconds if you watch Face Off.
That movie's so bad.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's bad, man.
All right.
I'll give you that.
I'll do it.
It's hilarious though, like just to watch, right? Like
John
it's so
Travolta,
bad,
baby.
it's good, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Okay, now that's because I love them. And speaking of horror movies, check out Mandy. Write that one down. You want to see a horror movie with Nicolas
Mandy.
Cage?
All right.
Yeah, watch Mandy.
So actually, Jordan, you might be proud. I have not seen it, so you're not going to be that proud. But it has come up in conversation with the group, and in my film watching group, it was my suggestion. It didn't win, but I suggested we watch it.
Yeah, it is so far out there, man.
Yeah.
It is.
I find it really
It's what I heard.
fascinating that you have a movie watching group and I'm not a part of it. I mean,
This
You know.
is your movie watching group.
yeah, the hell.
Yeah.
Anyways,
All right. All right. Now's when the montage kicks in, and it's just clips of us talking about horror, and then we're done, right?
and then
Like,
we're
that's
done.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
Yeah,
all of a sudden it's
yeah.
like Vincent Price, Claude Rains, 2010, and then we're done, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
All right. Okay. Well, see you guys. No. All right. So I guess I guess what I've read, because I can't say for sure because I've never seen these films, but these, it says in 1896, right? So that's, I guess that's when they are going to consider was the first, it was a short film.
Good Lord.
Like 2
Dang.
minutes. Yeah, 2 minutes long. And that's, I guess, what they're going to consider was the first depiction of a horror on screen.
I would have guessed the 40s.
No. So 1896. And
Wow.
I have seen clips, and it's creepy. They're like, it's obviously black and white, and it's in some place that looks like Jerusalem. Like it's, you know what I mean? Like it's in these ancient lands, and there's like the devil, you know, he looks like what the old pictures of the devil look like you just generic.
Darth Maul.
Yes, well, exactly. That's where they got it from for Insidious, right? From
Tiptoe
1896.
through the dunes.
So that, like, your generic, like if I were to put on a Halloween costume of the devil, that's what this guy looked like.
Oh, please do.
So I guess they're crediting that to a guy named George Millet, which I did read about. And he just made these short film. He made like 100, 200 of these things, and they ranged from, 2.5 minutes to, I think, like his longest was like 14 minutes or something like that. Anyway, that one, if you want, you can even look up images and stuff on YouTube. It's called Le Manoir du Diable. So it's that translates to the haunted castle or the house of the devil, I guess.
Oh, cool.
So anyway, so that's just a quick little thing there. And then they move on to like trick photography. That's when they started playing around with these.
These are creepy images.
Yeah.
I'm looking it up. This is creepy.
Yeah.
And the black and white, like the overexposed, the fact that you can't really make everything out perfectly, it just adds to it.
Mm-hmm. And obviously there was no sound because then you get in, right? And then after that you get into your whatever, these guys are making trick films, right? So they're kind of doing magic tricks on film, and that's kind of how they made these trick photography. It was like a way to showcase these newly invented special effects and stuff like that. So they were like kind of using these X-ray machines where they would so in films they would use what they would call an X-ray machine, but they would really just paint people like as skeletons, or they'd paint their clothes as skeletons and then film it in a certain way to make them look like real skeletons. That was about as far as they could really go, obviously. And
That's all they're doing when you go to the hospital for an X-ray.
Right. Well, obviously, that's why they've
an
never found anything in me.
Yeah, it's an industry secret, but they're like, we think your leg's broken. We're going to have to do an X-ray. They get together. There's like a Christmas party, and they just show these things on like a PowerPoint. And it's
this was the X-ray. It was invented by George Millet in 1896.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So pretty much, as you're looking at those or whatever, they're no sound, right? So then you move into the German expressionism, right? That's kind of where the feature films and that's when you get your Nosferatu and the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari.
Yeah, which I love German expressionism because I'm, as cliche as it is, I grew up a Tim Burton buff, right? And Tim Burton is heavily inspired, like all of these crooked angles and sort of deep, dark, sunken eyes and pale faces.
It is. Honestly, his set pieces it's like Dr. Caligari. Have you ever seen Dr. Caligari?
No.
The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. So write that one down. It's like a 19... All
right, I got Mandy and the Cabinet of Dr.
Caligari. So
Caligari.
That is...
I was going to write calamari, but I knew that wasn't right.
That would be a pretty yummy cabinet. Do you like
Can you
calamari?
imagine? I'm just like,
Yes.
yeah, hey, want to see my calamari cabinet? Oh my God.
All you can eat? That's my first question. All you can eat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that film is I haven't seen it in some time, but it's obviously no dialogue. It's a German silent German expressionism film. So what German expressionism is, I guess I go in is just just high, like super over exaggerated expressions and painted like they would paint dark black lines on the canvases as set pieces because they didn't really have set pieces, so they'd make these weird, windy, very macabre looking set pieces and really dark makeup and things like that. It's pretty much like so during World War II, I guess they would. I guess we'll get into that later. So I'll just stick with the path I'm getting. I'm getting all scatterbrained. So
You're on the right
if you-
show then.
Yeah, if you take, there's just so much. Like talking about the horror genre as a, it's there's a lot to cover. So I'll just obviously go through the main points. So the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. If you look, it's got all of exactly what I said. The painted, narrow. They're like little narrow alleyways that would walk on, and it's about like a hypnotist, and he puts people under like hypnosis or something like that, and he makes them commit murders and things like that. So it's really simple, but obviously then it was eye-opening and terrifying, and obviously the start of something new. And then there's Nosferatu. Obviously, you've probably heard of that, I would think, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So that's an interesting one too. Obviously, it's a German silent expressionism type film. Crazy settings like your typical Transylvania settings, and jittery, weird movements. Like that's what I always thought too. Thinking about the J horror, like you're talking about The Grudge earlier, right? And how they would have those weird jittery movements, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And
Yes.
like in The Ring, when she would come out of the TV and crawl, like it was kind of
Yeah.
weird, and their heads would kind of move in a weird way, like
It was
jitter and twitch. And,
It was almost like a weird blend between regular film and stop motion, but it wasn't quite
Yes.
stop motion, and it's just a very unnatural.
yeah, and
movement.
things like sometimes it kind of looks sped up and then slow down.
Yeah.
That's kind of what, like, I wonder if if pretty much everything we're seeing now is kind of pulling from all of this older German expression, because their movements were so over exaggerated because they couldn't use dialogue, right? So everything they did was just so over the top, and they would, when you watch these movies, their walking is so jittery and fast and slow and then weird, and yeah, so it always makes me wonder, because how far, we really do pull back from. And obviously it feels like at least these two films, Nosferatu and The Cabinet. And then I guess there was another one too, thinking off the top of my head, I've been watching. I haven't seen it all, but I just started watching it the other day. It's 1920 German silent film called Der Golem, The Golem. And it's about like I haven't watched all of it, but as I'm getting right now, it's some creature made out of mud and clay, and he's falling in love with a woman, and she's not giving him his love that he desires back. So I assume murder will ensue.
God, I feel like I could sue for the rights to my life story. That's man.
Yeah, so then I guess from there the biggest thing would just be, the Universal monsters, right?
I grew up renting this is one I forgot about. I grew up renting the VHS for The Creature of the Black Lagoon. Oh my gosh. I don't know why. I don't know why specifically that one, and I was definitely far too young to be watching it or to understand it. But there was just something about the character design that I loved. Yeah. And that's probably one of the only, that's probably the only original monster movie that I've seen.
Cool.
Huh. Have you seen it, Pete?
No. I'm actually just Googling some stills of it, but no.
And it's just a dude in a suit. But
Oh, yeah.
But it's iconic. It's classic. It's so good.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think all of their monsters, like all their feature movies, were great. The very first ones were great with Lugosi and Karloff and all them. But yeah, so Universal, obviously they didn't start, I think, 1923. So it would have been 3 years after Nosferatu and The Cabinet and Der Golem. So
Geez, still, that's earlier than I thought.
yeah, so 23 is when they started to put out. That's when they began phase one of their monsters, of Universal monsters. So that's
Right.
so you know how like Marvel now has phase 1 and 2 of their. So that's how Universal started it in 1923 with their monsters. So it's really interesting.
And they revealed them at Comic-Con 1921.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And L.A. 1921 L.A. as I'm looking at it right now.
I can look up facts on the internet too, Pete.
It actually just made that as a joke.
Friggin' show
that's not a. I wish there was a Comic-Con. I want to see what a Comic-Con looked like in 1921.
Let me tell you, it was full of moonshine and the Charleston.
Yeah, and kids running around in pillowcases with holes cut out of their eyes. Right?
And,
Yeah.
And candy corn galore.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
You like candy corn?
Do I?
Yeah.
No,
Hell yeah, baby.
I don't think so.
Oh.
You know what? I always think, no, candy corn's gross. And then whenever I take some candy corn and I put it on my tongue, I think this is just hard icing. Is all this is. It's just like hard sugary. But now that October is here, I'm going to be taking myself to the Bulk Barn, and what I do like is the Halloween kisses, like that, like molasses toffee, like, the 100-year-old candy at this point. They're so good. So good.
Yeah, isn't Bulk Barn's weird now though, right? Because
Because now you show up at Bulk Barn and they're like, "Hi, what do you want?"
I'm your
Right.
candy tender. That's what
Yeah,
they say.
and I'm
your
like, "What do you
candy
mean? What do I
tender."
want? I'm at the Bulk Barn. I want to walk around and look and take things from the bins when you're not looking and sample them. Like, what do you?"
I don't really
Yeah.
want you knowing how much and what I'm just shoving down my gullet.
Which is and maybe someone's got the answer to this, and this is not horror related at all or Halloween related. But we were talking about, obviously in the world that we're living in right now, the restaurants that are open are doing things differently, right? The Mandarin is open, like big Chinese buffet chains.
I think they're
are
just
open.
wait.
How
they're
are they
open
doing that?
For
How?
I think they're just doing takeout.
You think they're just doing like a la
Well,
carte
because-
takeout?
well-
Yeah, because I thought buffets were a no-no.
Well, yeah, but
Unless it's a
Mandarin,
similar
they do have a
style.
menu.
Unless you
Mandarin
walk
has
They
a menu.
do, but
Unless you walk up and they're like, "What do you want?" And I'm like,
Ugh.
God, I don't know. Like,
all
like
of the
62
shrimp.
crab legs.
yeah, I want.
Yeah,
I
that's
want
right.
3 chicken balls and this much noodle, but not too much noodles. And I want it sounds miserable to me.
I'll take one plate of just mishmash and then I'll have 72 plates of dessert after.
And wouldn't you feel judged? Wouldn't you feel judged? Like if there's a person who, you show up at the Chinese buffet and you're like your 6th plate and you're like, "Me again. Okay, can I have?"
He's like, "Bud, I've lost all the calories that you've put on. Like, just getting your food."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, back to it.
All right, we're just derailing. That's fun. It's fun. You guys having fun? I'm having fun.
Yeah.
All right. So Yeah. So okay.
Sorry, I didn't answer.
Universal.
Yes. I am enjoying it.
I had this little pop-up just come up on my computer saying, "Dr. Pimple Popper video." Like, what?
Huh.
Do you ever get YouTube pop-ups? It's like new video.
No, but similarly, I've gone to YouTube to watch a video, and then 36 hours later, I'm on what I can only describe as the dark side of YouTube, because I just keep clicking the "you may also be interested in," and then I'm like, how did I get here? Why am I watching things that I feel like deserve to belong on the dark web, when really I just came here to watch, how to neuter a cat at home? Like, why am I now seeing this stuff?
Oh, that's awful.
I would never do that. I'd be too scared to, I love cats.
I'd be too scared.
Yeah, I do something to a dog because I don't like dogs, but
Yeah, I feel that. No,
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. Poor Fly got a dog, and I just feel bad that I said that now. All right, so the films from Universal Monsters were the early stages, obviously the ones that we, I think we're still well known now. I think that we still refer back to. We're obviously based off of books by Edgar Allan Poe and Victor Hugo,
quote the Raven.
Yeah, right, and the Raven, and
Frankenstein.
yeah, and Victor Hugo wrote The Hunchback of Notre Dame, right? And that's a really, that movie's very creepy, really.
Sorry, when you said Victor Hugo, for some reason I just thought Mary Shelley, and that's why I said Frankenstein. And I can't explain why I said that, but it's on topic.
Well, it is on topic, and that's all right.
Sorry.
Man,
Well, they were writing books probably back around the same. I don't really know when Victor Hugo, but I know Mary Shelley wrote. Listen to this. She wrote Frankenstein 1818.
Romanticism.
Man, that concept for 1818, that is mind blowing and terrifying.
I need to
For sure, but it blends in with the Romanticism era.
Right.
I need to set the record straight, because this drives me nuts. Up the wall, for the record, once and for all. If you're listening to this, Frankenstein is the doctor.
Yes.
The monster is Frankenstein's monster.
Yes.
Stop doing images of a green guy with bolts in his neck and stitches on his face with the label Frankenstein underneath it, because that's not Frankenstein.
It's
It's
this line where the horror fans, we've all just kind of okay, we
whatever.
know.
Yeah.
Well,
PSA time.
I named my cat when I was 18. When I was 8 years old, I named him Frankenstein.
Nice.
He's not the doctor. He was actually the monster. But I wasn't going to call him Frankenstein's monster.
No.
That's
do
a long when you're kind of scolding your pet. That just adds a lot of syllables.
Frankenstein's monster, you friggin'.
Yeah. Stop being a monster.
What have I said about pooing on the carpet, Frankenstein's monster?
What I tell you about scratching up the walls, Frankenstein's monster.
Gosh, darn it.
Yeah. So, yeah, and like you said, the Raven, you just named that one, that's a crazy film too. That's a super macabre story. The Mask of the Red Death, The Pit and the Pendulum, which was done by, obviously we'll get into later, Vincent Price. So, there's just too many to name for the films here, but the first Universal film was Hunchback. So, Hunchback and the Phantom of the Opera, which I haven't seen those films in a long, long time. But I know that Lon Chaney, right? Lon Chaney Sr., the guy who played the Phantom, he regarded as one of the greatest actors, I think, of all time. The man, what they call him, the man with 100 faces or something, the man with many faces. And he would do his own makeup and everything like that. He did his own makeup for the Phantom of the Opera, and he was terrifying as well. So Lon Chaney Sr., I think, is a big name there to write down or just to remember, because as we get, as we move on through the Universal era, he passes away, and Lon Chaney Jr., joins the fray and follows in his footsteps, and is obviously the Wolfman, right?
Yep.
And he was regarded as one of the greatest actors. So him and his father both really, I think, helped set the tone for horror to come. Obviously, they were unbelievable. And then you had like Bela Lugosi and as Dracula.
That's a name a lot of people know.
Yeah, Boris Karloff as Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Claude Rains, right, as the Invisible Man, which is also incredible too when it comes to special effects. I think that film, when you talk about the Invisible Man, it's it's regarded as a horror film, but more regarded as like a masterwork achievement of special effects for the era, because when they had him, because obviously he's the Invisible Man and he's supposed to be invisible, so that's a lot of work to put on the shoulders of a 1928 or whatever that film came out, 1930s. But yeah, if you watch the scene, even if you don't watch the whole film, there's a scene, you should be able to see it on YouTube anyway, but it's of the Invisible Man, of Claude Rains unraveling the bandages on him, on his face and his head, and he unravels them, and he is invisible, like right before your eyes. You can't even tell. You still can't tell, and it's actually still, it's mind-blowing to watch now. It is one of the greatest. It's still, like, even for now, it is really unbelievable. It's hard to even kind of see the flaws in it. It is truly, it's incredible.
I was sorely disappointed when, like 2 years ago, when word hit the web that we were getting an Invisible Man movie. I got really, really excited. And then because at the time we didn't have a trailer or anything, and obviously the 2020 film that we got, Invisible Man, isn't the Invisible Man that we know and love. Still a great film. I give the new Invisible Man very high praise. But yeah, I don't know. I was hoping for a dude in a trench coat,
right? Yeah, I haven't seen it yet, to be honest, but from what I've read, it's just, it's a different take. I kind of wish that, because I know Universal, they were trying to reboot their monsters.
Kind of. I mean,
with like Dracula Untold.
Sort of. Yeah, like we had that, and then we had
Frankenstein.
We had Tom Cruise in
The Mummy.
The Mummy.
Yeah.
And but then what happened? I mean,
and like I didn't bother, because they honestly don't look. I was like, this is not going to be good.
I set out to watch. I did set out to watch the Tom Cruise Mummy, despite my hatred for Tom Cruise.
Right.
But I thought that my overwhelming love for Brendan Fraser would carry me through. And it
Those
didn't.
were great.
I fell asleep partway through the
awesome.
Tom Cruise one. I was very disinterested.
Yeah, so I just with the Invisible Man from Blumhouse, I just wish that they were like, no, we're gonna take the reins here and reboot it, and reboot the Universal monsters. But then they went this route, and I'm like, well, they can't really do that now. Because I heard that they're taking on some of the old classics. Like, they're redoing The Thing.
Yep.
Right?
Right.
And so, like, they're redoing some old classics right now. I just kind of wish they went the authentic route, so they could have kept it going as paying homage to the old ones anyway. But that's not the case.
I'm just looking up now keep talking, but I am looking up what their roadmap is, what they're planning to do, whether it'll come to fruition or not.
Who, Blumhouse?
Just Universal, like Universal's relaunch of their monster universe.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Well, I'm excited to hear. Yeah, so I guess when these films start coming out, we're entering like the talkie era. Talkies obviously are just films that use sound and dialogue, simple stories.
You've heard of them, right?
Yeah, you've heard of those films, right? We don't all watch silent films now, right? Not all of us, anyway. Yeah, they're just simple stories, right? Just sound and dialogue driven, just emphasizing on the because they would add music and a lot and like creepy organ scores, and you would hear the creaky doors and the creaky floorboards and the howling of the winds right outside, and so that was kind of the emphasis for these films. That was kind of how they brought the scares. Now they were finding new ways, obviously, so they weren't terribly, like, I know The Terror was one of them, 1928. That was Warner Bros. I think that was Warner Bros. First horror film. I think that's when they kind of joined the horror whatever, like the horror scene there. Yeah, and they're still kind of doing it now, but The Terror, it's pretty much a revolutionary film, because I think The Terror was the first. I think it was the first talkie. I should be saying this stuff, but I want to say I want to say it is. So I'm just gonna go ahead, and if anyone has any qualms with that, come at me, bro. But no, I think I'm confident in saying that. Anyway, it was the first one.
Okay, I got it here. So Universal in 2014, Universal announced that they were going to launch what they were calling the Dark Universe, which was a shared cinematic universe, because that's a fresh, original idea these days. A shared cinematic universe, and they were going to reboot all the monster movies. Excuse me. They have since abandoned the idea of a shared universe, and are just doing standalone monster films. So to date, they've done Dracula Untold, The Mummy, and The Invisible Man, the films that are currently in production over at Universal, which means anywhere from people have been cast to we have a screenplay to, there's a producer signed on and we're in talks with a director, are Dark Army, Renfield, Frankenstein, The Invisible Woman,
okay,
Monster Mash, The Bride of Frankenstein,
okay,
Dracula, The Wolfman,
so they're doing another one,
Little Monsters, and an untitled Invisible Man sequel. But I do know about the Wolfman one, because the Wolfman, they actually have Ryan Gosling is signed on.
Whoa!
To play the Wolfman.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's some notoriety there. Big name.
Well, they're gonna get big names for these, which is that's good stuff. Oh man, I think though, could you imagine someone coming and say, "Hey, do you want to play Dracula or do you want to play Frank?" Like, that is an honor.
I would be.
Yeah. I would think any actor would be very interested in doing that.
It's like when they approached Aaron Eldridge and said, "Okay, we're going to give you Han Solo." Like, how do you even,
you crap your pants.
We want you to be the next Batman. Good Lord, I don't know.
Robert Pattinson?
Part of me says, yes, absolutely, I want to do it. But another part of me says, I don't know. I don't know if I want to be the one in those shoes if it all goes south. Like,
mm-hmm.
Well, and it's not like, hey, the last time someone did these, they crapped the bed. It's like,
Exactly.
no, the last time you're going up against some of the greatest actors in the world.
Yeah, you want me to play a vampire? Sure, I'll show Christopher Lee what's good. Oh,
Yeah. I'll play Frankenstein's monster better than Boris Karloff.
exactly. Yeah, whatever, man.
Yeah. But yep. So anyway, yeah. So the 30s. So the Terror, I looked it up. Yeah, 1928. So then that would be just before Frankenstein and Dracula, because Frankenstein was 1930, as was Dracula, I believe. So the 30s would really be considered probably the golden age of the Universal monsters, because 1930 Frankenstein, Dracula, and you got the Mummy, Invisible Man, all of them, prolific, and they would all create sequels and make this in Universal tons of money. So that was probably the first time that they were making probably money like this, that they were able to kind of toss around and just keep using this formula to just keep raking in the cash and produce, and then using it probably to produce lower budget, romantic comedies or romantic films or whatever else they were producing. I'm not huge on everything else they were kind of doing at the time. Because I'm not like a full-on cinephile when it comes to that stuff. But
Sure.
So I guess also I saw the numbers. So they produced 21 films in the 30s. 21 horror, like in the Universal Monsters universe. So 21 films in 10 years.
That is a lot.
Right.
That's a lot by
Yes.
today's standards.
Mm-hmm.
That is an astronomical amount in the 1930s. Holy crap.
Well, so in the 20s, they made 5. Right? And
Oh,
so
wow.
then in the 30s, when these monsters kind of took hold and started, and people really, they were invested in them and they wanted to see 21. So that might give you a little bit like insight into how these monsters probably, these were the catalyst for what Universal is today. And they probably made them the money to be what they were today and grow the fan base and clientele that they have in Hollywood. And just so it's super interesting when you go back to see these films too, because it's really giving you like this inside look into this is kind of how what we're watching now. This is kind of how everything began, and these actors were these will go down. They've gone down as the greatest, right? So it's interesting, and to see, like, especially I couldn't imagine being a kid, like, because I didn't really get into this stuff until I was in high school and into these guys, because I don't care about the 1920s, and Dracula is like a kind of like I always thought of him as like a caricature. Like you see, like, oh, ha, 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 and he'd do this weird, like, I'm Dracula. And, like, I kind of laugh at that as a kid. Like, oh, this is kind of silly, because I was used to, like, the feral vampires.
Right.
But now I'm like, that is, that's the true vampire. That's the real.
The gentleman vampire.
Yes, that's the suave, seducing,
Silk cape.
Yeah,
Or
but now
velvet cape.
And I find that to be more creepy now.
Sure.
Because he would, he's so seducing. Bela Lugosi could seduce me into doing anything. So, right? So I've just, seeing that depicted on screen, this guy could have his way. Like, that was the thing. He was just able to do and persuade anyone into doing anything because he was just so charming and handsome. Right?
Charming. Charming is a good word. I think charming is definitely what I think of. Yeah, when I think of classic Dracula, with the slicked back hair, and
the widow's peak. Yep.
Yes, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and then Christopher Lee even more so. I think he was a super charming man.
Well, and he had like his voice had an extra depth to it,
right?
That just made him because Christopher Lee is such a baritone. that, yeah, he just had this kind of like welcoming and warm, safe kind of feel to him, which is scary because he wasn't warm and safe. He was, he wanted to suck your blood.
Dracula. Yeah, and he's he's very subtle. Like his dialogue was so subtle, whereas now it's all in like Interview with a Vampire by Anne Rice and stuff. It's all like overextended dialogue, just probably just meant to try and get us to read into things a little bit more. Whereas back then there these themes that we have now. I don't think they were so involved in the films back then, like the true themes like we get now. Like Get Out it's not just a horror movie, that's a movie for black people, and it's
a social
commentary. And I don't think these themes were really, they didn't put themes like that, I don't think, in movies back then. So I don't think there was too much you could read into other than, yes, this guy's just a seducing, suave, charming man that's seducing women and sucking and biting their necks and sucking their blood. They didn't really explore the loneliness of a vampire and how being alive for eternity can really affect your mental health. And
they didn't drive Volvos, and they didn't sparkle in the sun, and they didn't,
Yes, and like the Lost Boys, and then, they weren't having beach parties and
exactly.
Yeah, and driving motorcycles and stuff.
What a shame.
But they were sleeping upside down.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
It's been a long time.
That's how you get sleep.
Yeah, man.
It's like Daredevil, Ben Affleck style. So he sleeps in water, right? Doesn't he sleep in water with his ears submerged in water?
Yeah. Because otherwise his senses, his hearing is so overbearing otherwise that he can't.
Right. So he just sleeps with his ears in water. Yeah. It is a weird one.
So where does that bring us to?
Well, so I guess just the Universal monsters, big ones, right? Yep. And then you go in like, what comes after that? 44, picture Dorian Gray, things like that would maybe be a milestone. But I think, the 1950s would probably be where we'd go into next with like the climate change and the nuclear war. Everything like that. So we had like the creature features were starting to come out in the 50s, like Creature from the Black Lagoon, and then you had like the body snatcher films. The films were starting to kind of, they had like a contemporary look, like starting to look at the political and social aspects. Hello? Oh,
hello.
Yeah. Everything just cut out there for a second.
Oh, no.
Oh, sorry. So they're kind of looking, I think now in the 50s is where we start to get these, the social and political concerns a little bit more in the films. The after effects of the World War and, right? So, you had the creatures from the, the nuclear age. You had these oversized creatures. I think that's when we got, Godzilla even and things like that, right? And Invasion of the Body Snatchers, 1956, which was, filled to the brim with paranoia and not being able to trust really anyone, having your neighbors look identical but them being imposters and causing mass hysteria and the hysteria going on at the time. If you haven't seen that one, I would really suggest that one. I love Invasion of the Body Snatchers 1956. That is one of, I think if I were to make like a top 10 horror film, even a top 10 film list, like my all-time that's up there. That's one of, I think, the greatest films. One of my favorites, anyway. It's black and white, obviously. It's just for 56, it is filled with paranoia. Like that movie gets under my skin still, and kind of like I find them like, duh, because so you have the pod people in this one. So what happens? These alien beings kind of start to snatch up bodies in this town, California town, and
as they do.
yeah, and so it happens when they fall asleep. So as these people fall asleep, they kind of their bodies get taken over, and then they are rebirthed out of these pods, and they're different, but they look exactly the same. They refer to them as they're the exact same person, but they don't have any facial features. So it's like having your neighbor look the exact same, but he just doesn't smile, and his cheeks don't really move, and he's just a little bit off. He's just uncanny, right? You're entering that like uncanny valley kind of, just something is just a tad bit off, but you can't really put your finger on it. Well, yeah, that it's really creepy having you think your neighbors and everyone around you that you love and thinking, I'm constantly yelling at the screen like, don't fall asleep, don't fall asleep, don't fall asleep. You fall asleep, you're gone, right? So it still does it for me, that one.
I experienced this when I moved to the Greater Toronto area.
Oh.
It's pretty much everything you're describing right now is
It's all the people
just all my whole subdivision.
Emotionless.
Yeah.
So that kind of takes us to the 50s.
Yeah.
Where if you were kind of moving along, what other major milestones kind of separate us between the 50s and where we're at today?
Yeah, so in the 50s, yeah, so you had that. And then Ray Harryhausen, I think, is a big name I have to lay down. He was like the master of claymation and like short stop animations and things like that. Like he did, the Seventh Voyage of Sinbad and the Beast from 20,000 Fathoms. So I think he's a massive influence now. I gotta say his name because of guys like Peter Jackson and Guillermo, right? Like they all pull. I think every filmmaker probably has pulled from Ray Harryhausen at some point or another. He is that influential. And then William Castle would be another one who was famous for his gimmicks. So he was famous for getting people into seats by using gimmicks, by using fright tactics and things like that. Like he would hand out like $1,000 life insurance policies at the door in case of death. Yeah, in case of death, right, from fright of the film. And so this would get people in. And he had a House on Haunted Hill during the screening of that. He floated like a fake skeleton above everybody, right? So,
the good old days.
Right. So you kind of use these gimmicks to kind of get people in the seats and get them scared beforehand. So I think he's a big one. And then obviously the Japanese kaiju movies in 1954, Godzilla and Rodan and Mothra. I think those got to be considered horror because they're monsters. I think that's what it comes down to. They're monsters, so I think we're gonna say that's horror.
Yeah.
They were right. So, all right. So if we move on quick from that, this is kind of where science fiction and everything kind of emerged, right? From the after effects of the war, I think is really how all that started.
You've got Roswell. You've got everyone's getting all uptight about Area 51.
Right.
Yep. So gotta have things like that. So, all right, moving on. Then Hammer started in the 50s, and I think that's a big name too. As Brady's mentioned Christopher Lee's name a few times and things like that. So Hammer, they released Count Dracula with Christopher Lee in 1958. So that was near the end of the decade there, but they were most famous for kind of reintroducing, the Universal classic monsters and kind of retelling the same stories, but in color, with graphic and gory like scenes, blood, and which made these films a little more shocking, obviously, to people than they were before. So that's where you get Frankenstein was painted green, and so that's where Frankenstein got his green color. That's where you kind of
right.
That's
the
where
image
you start
we
to
all know.
Yeah, the image we all know, and I think a lot of people how they see Dracula, they see Christopher Lee's Dracula and his Frankenstein, I think he was Frankenstein as well. So Christopher Lee played both. He played Frankenstein's monster and Dracula. So it's interesting. And then you leave that decade and you got to move into the 60s because that's when Psycho was released, right?
Right.
So, and then you get Alfred Hitchcock kind of doing his thing, and he is, if we're going to talk about horror, then he's definitely the big name.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
Yeah, and he started in the 20s, believe it or not. He started making German, like silent German expression films, but they weren't horror. They were more, he's kind of dabbling in like thriller. Obviously, we know him as like the master of suspense, right? So
sure.
And actually, he really got his feet wet with romantic comedies in the really early 20s.
Right. I can't. What are some of his earlier ones? Just to derail for 1 second, just because he's amazing, right? Like I think any filmmaker, right, any genre, no matter what, I think Alfred Hitchcock's a big influence just because of suspense and the way he writes. He's just a genius.
Mm-hmm. I've always thought that about Vertigo. Brady and I differ a little bit, but.
Yeah, we sure do.
So they'll credit his first film in 1925 was called The Pleasure Garden.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah.
So
I
that was.
have no idea.
Yeah, me either. Me either, sir.
I was like, damn, Brady, like you are well, I was going to say well read, but well viewed.
I've spent many years trying to grow myself a pleasure garden. I just don't have a green thumb, apparently.
But you're right, though, Pete. Like it says, just reading the description, it says two couples' romances are fancifully intertwined. So. Yeah, 1925 would be. That's interesting. I just had to check that out. So yeah, he's a big one. Psycho, 1960, probably considered. I think widely considered probably one of the if not the first slasher, right? This first slasher film.
Yeah.
Yeah. And,
I mean, it's the oldest one I can think of.
Janet Leigh. Stabbed in the shower, the famous shower scene.
With the song, the notes that we all know.
Yeah. Yep.
It's a great scene. Janet Leigh too. Like, do you know who's her daughter?
No.
I give you some trivia right now. Who's Janet Leigh's daughter? So the woman who was murdered in Psycho.
Okay.
One of the first. I guess you can call her one of the first scream queens just from that scene, right? So her daughter, you don't know?
No, I haven't got a clue.
Okay.
Jennifer Aniston.
No.
Good
guess.
Kristen Stewart.
Wait, Beyonce.
Yeah. You're right. It's Beyonce. You got me.
Oh, baby.
Uncanny. They look identical. How did you not?
See, I wouldn't have guessed, but huh.
Who is it?
Her daughter is Jamie Lee Curtis.
No.
Yeah. So the quintessential scream queen, right?
Yeah.
Is the daughter of the first
Scream Queen. Wow.
No way.
Yeah.
Yeah, because obviously
cool.
Jamie Lee Curtis in the Halloween franchise, right? That's
Yep.
Oh,
yes.
right.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Who's interesting? Like she's returned to it now. She's gone back.
Which also, if you want to go full circle with that, just like a grasping at straws here. So they say Hitchcock, 1960, Psycho, King of Suspense, don't show, don't tell. Right. That's kind of his thing. Janet Leigh, so Halloween, Jamie Lee Curtis, their daughter, Michael Myers, John Carpenter was was compared from this film. Just this film was compared to Psycho in tons of ways. He was compared to Hitchcock in tons of ways because the way he used suspense and he showed but didn't tell, and he built his films a lot like Hitchcock. So it's just kind of interesting that, yeah, I don't know. I always found that kind of interesting. They're both very similar in that the way that they're built, those two films, and yeah. They come,
cool.
20, almost 20 years late apart. Awesome. Yeah, so he was the master of suspense, like we said, the pioneer of psychological torture, like we said. I think he made like the MacGuffin, the MacGuffin in a film. No?
No, I don't know what that is.
Oh, okay. So the MacGuffin is used in tons of films. A lot of times like a crime or a mystery, like a whodunit. But the MacGuffin's it's like a object or something that was said or shown earlier on in the film. Usually in like the first act or something.
Oh, cool.
And then by the end of the film, it kind of means nothing. That MacGuffin, it means nothing. They showed you that, and it just completely lacks of importance by the end of the film.
So that's, you know what
it's like a misdirection.
The example that pops into my head for that is just about every episode of The Simpsons ever. The Simpsons always starts out, and what's happening when the episode starts has zero impact on the rest of the episode.
Brady, I love that you said that, man.
Yeah,
I
zero
really
impact.
do. Because so me and Jess, my wife, for everyone listening, we watch The Simpsons before bed every night. That's just we watch like 2 episodes of Simpsons before bed every night. That's just our thing. I've seen every episode.
As you should.
50 times. Every episode. I was thinking last night was the first time I sat there and was like, these are really built like a MacGuffin. Like everything that's said in the first 5 minutes of this story goes completely off the rails, and that's not what this episode is about.
Means nothing at all.
Nothing. It's just a way it's a plot device used to get the story in motion, and then they just forget it.
Usually
right?
at the end of every Simpsons episode, I go, how did we get here? How did we end up here? Because when this started, we were playing mini golf, and now we've stopped the power plant from melting down. Like what?
Yeah.
What?
Well, when you're talking about a Simpsons episode, you ask 2 questions: how did it start, and how does it end? Because if you tell me how it starts, I still don't know if I'll know what episode you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, all right, so we covered him a bit. I feel bad. Obviously, I'd like to dive into him, but I can't. And then you get Mario Bava, who is like the Italian Hitchcock, right? So I think he's a big name. He was, he's like the Italian version of Hitchcock. They kind of made what a subgenre still used today. So I think it's important mentioning is the Giallo film. You heard of Giallo?
No.
Before. So Giallo was like an Italian subgenre of horror. The whodunit. So the classic whodunit film. They would wear the black gloves, and they would use a knife, and it's pretty much it. It was just sexy, the explicit. And it was a big mystery film. It's just a big mystery. You wouldn't know who the killer was until the very last scene or act or whatever. And it kind of switched between who you would think. So that's a Giallo. Giallo means yellow. I guess what I read was that these type of novels in Italy, the mystery novels, they all came on yellow, with yellow paperbacks, right?
Oh, okay. Huh.
So I guess they called the film genre giallo, so it just means yellow. And then just moving on from there, I guess you go into like the 80s would probably be the next big decade, and you'd get.
See, and that's where, like when I think classic horror films, I think, the 80s.
Yeah.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you've got the introduction of so much. You've got, I feel like the 80s is when we had a lot of horror mascots birthed. Right? Like everyone, like Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees and Freddy Krueger and Chucky and, God, who else? Leatherface. Like everyone's traced back to the 80s.
Yeah, I think so. From when we were growing up, especially in the 90s and stuff, right? We're all products of the 90s, right?
Yeah, I guess Ghostface was the 90s, early 90s.
Yeah, but I think those films were still pulling from the 80s, so I think that's still what we knew, because in the 90s we were still getting a Nightmare on Elm Street sequels.
Sure.
And tons of they were still coming.
Which I didn't realize how many there were when I went to look up the original one, and I had to be careful which one I looked up. I'm like, dang, there's like 16 here.
Dream Warriors is epic. If you get an opportunity, Pete, after we watch the original, watch Dream Warriors.
And sorry, which number is that one?
3?
3?
Okay. I don't know. Yeah, you're 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Who knows?
It's good though. Yeah. It's good. I would say it's the best one in the original series.
Got some good themes in that one, actually. Yeah. That's a good solid one. Yeah, it is. You're right. You are correct, sir. So so the 80s it's a big one. Like the 70s were big, you were still reeling from war. Like you have George A. Romero, like I guess I can't move past him with Night of the Living Dead, which was quintessential, I think, in horror, right? Like you don't really go anywhere in horror without mentioning George A. Romero or at least seeing Night of the Living Dead. It was like the first true zombies, right?
Man. And zombies don't do it for me, but when there's a couple of films that I do enjoy, and that's one of them.
Night of the Living Dead?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's it was built and written brilliantly. It wasn't just zombies feasting, and they weren't like the fast ones that we see now, right? They're the slow moving. But it was a really character driven, and like they were locked up in the farmhouse, right? So you got a lot of character interaction that was pretty hostile, and it was interesting to watch, especially in the 60s. And I guess the first black star in film, maybe, right?
Yeah, possibly.
So I think that would Dwayne Jones, right? He was the black actor, and he was the hero and the star of the movie. Ben was his character's name.
That's pretty groundbreaking then, if that is in fact.
Yeah, I think, I don't know if it was cinema in general, but I know for a fact that he was the first black star in horror film. So I know that for a fact, which is very groundbreaking regardless. And he wasn't typecasted. I was watching an interview with Romero, and he wasn't like, they didn't write him in the story as a black hero. Like in the script, he was colorless. Like he could have been white, he could have been black, he could have been Chinese, he could have been anyone, any race, any person. But as Romero, interviewed and had auditions for, he said he was the best one on the job. And so that's why we went with him. There was no racial influence or nothing. It was just, he was the best one that came in for the auditions, and that's why we wanted him. So I think that's pretty cool.
Which is how it should be.
Yep, exactly. Yep. That's exactly how it should be, which is, I don't think a lot of the time how it is, and I still think today that's not how it is, which makes it so amazing that Romero did that in, 64, whenever that movie came out, right? So, yeah, it's really, really awesome. Also, the MPAA I think came out in the 70s, which is like the film rating system. So I think that was big for horror as well, because when Night of the Living Dead came out, there was no rating system in place yet. So little kids were going into the theaters and watching this film. Yeah, and people that shouldn't have been watching this film were watching, and they were being traumatized and seeing things that they probably shouldn't be seeing. So I think the film rating system in the 70s is probably a big milestone for horror too, because they would obviously rate things rated R and start to ban things from people to see. And yeah, so 70s was interesting. But yeah, the 80s.
So Jordan, I'm just looking at the time. Could we bring this plane in for landing, and could you kind of skim over what you think we need to know between where we're at and where we are today, just to kind of
So I guess so just we'll quick go through. So we're kids of the 90s. Obviously, the 90s wasn't great. Was not a great decade for horror. Things were just being rehashed or sequels, super low budget, until Wes Craven, I would say, reinvented slashers with Scream. So I think that would be the big one in the 90s, and then the Blair Witch. So then we
I think there may have even been one or two kids that had Halloween costumes from the movie Scream. I'm not sure. It could have been one or two. It could have been every damn kid that had that stupid mask.
Yeah, probably.
I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, and I think as we go through these generations where we are, I think in the 90s, like I can't remember the social climate of the 90s, but I don't think they were really social commentaries as much as we were getting things like they were kind of comedic. And I think they were dabbling in CGI a lot more. So you weren't getting films that really hold up as well. When we look back at them now, I don't think they hold up.
Right. Maybe more slapstick than a social commentary.
I think we were dabbling in that in the 90s a little bit, and kind of horror didn't really have a true voice. Didn't really have an identity in the 90s until I think Craven kind of did Scream and kind of used horror to kind of mock itself a little bit, but kind of pay homage and kind of write this love letter to the genre, where people were like, yeah, we can kind of have fun with this, but it is still scary and it is still effective. And I think that's kind of where we at now with the social climate we're in now. I think a lot of horror movies are going back to the way they were in that golden era of the 60s and 70s and 80s, where they were social commentary and commenting on the war, and whereas now we're commenting on our racial climate and our social climate and you know, the classes, like the upper class and middle class and the lower class, and
having a bit more of an underlying purpose towards the message that they're trying to convey.
Right. And I think you're getting that in movies like Get Out and other things. And then I saw, that speaking of the racial climate, I just saw a trailer for that Antebellum movie, and it kind of yeah, it kind of looks like a look into like maybe the slavery era, and making like a horror social commentary on that. And it's just kind of interesting that I don't know how I want to word this. I guess it's just interesting that a lot of people are kind of taking hold and kind of looking into the horror genre now, as ways to express these when they weren't before. And I think a lot more of the mainstream's kind of starting to accept horror and things that are a little bit more, I guess I could say, like forbidden. I guess horror was considered back in the day. So maybe now we're kind of looking into the real life horrors. We're able to, with social media, look at it more, and it's constantly around us, and you're not really able to escape it like I think you were back in the day. Whereas now I think since we're so exposed to real life horrors, that it's probably easier and maybe cathartic for people to go into these films and watch them kind of unfold and rewrite history and kind of, yeah, I don't know. I think it's interesting that way. Yeah.
Cool.
So I guess, yeah, I guess like to end it, I don't know how to end it really, the rant that I'm going on, right? just horror in general, you know, I just, yeah, I think it's a cheap, it was a cheap, easy way, you know, for directors and things like that to get started, get their name out there, kickstarted a lot of actors' careers, like we saw, like you're gonna see in A Nightmare on Elm Street with Johnny Depp and things like that. I think, and I think it was just the amount of money you put into horror versus the profit that it can get back is just an enticing route for filmmakers to take, and I think that's probably why there were so many horror movies in the 80s and things like that with these slashers, because I think that people were just getting away with making low budget movies and then having their careers kind of kick-started and getting them into the industry in ways that maybe other genres wouldn't have allowed. Like these no-name actors kind of getting their chops, cutting their teeth in the genre. Maybe it wouldn't have worked in a comedy if you can't tell a joke and get a laugh, you know?
Right. Well, and yeah, so I mean, you've got, so talking about that, like, you know, actors and directors who have gotten their start really, or, you know, found their footing in the industry in horror, right? So you've got actors like Paul Rudd with Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers, Kevin Bacon in Friday the 13th.
Right. Yeah.
Johnny Depp, obviously, Nightmare on Elm Street, we talked about.
Yeah.
Crispin Glover, he was in one of the Friday the 13th, I can't remember which one. Seth Rogen in Donnie Darko. Jennifer Aniston in Leprechaun, we talked about. Who else? Leonardo DiCaprio, right? In Critters 3. That is Leo's debut, right? Brad Pitt in Cutting Class, and Renee Zellweger and Matthew McConaughey in one of the Chainsaw sequels. I can't remember which one.
Is it Leatherface, the third one, or whatever that one's called? I can't remember.
Right, but then and you know, likewise directors, right? So you've got James Cameron, right? James Cameron did the second, not the second remake of Piranha, but the original second Piranha movie was James Cameron. Zack Snyder. James Gunn.
Well, you had like Peter Jackson.
Steven Spielberg.
Steven Spielberg.
Right? Yep. You've got one of Steven's very early films is Jaws, which is
he at the time he wasn't like who he was, like he was a nobody.
Yeah, Francis Ford Coppola, Sam Raimi, right? Sam Raimi who did the Tobey Maguire. Oh yeah. Yeah, Sam Raimi did
Evil Dead.
Did he do? Yeah, he said The Grudge, Drag Me to Hell is a Sam Raimi one. Don't Breathe. Right? Like these are all and Drag Me to Hell is so good. But these are all films that these guys, you know, have built their career on, because it's not necessarily that it's easy, but it is cheap. It's a smaller production. It's you know, you want to shoot a horror film, you get a bunch of actors that nobody's ever heard of, you find a house that is in need of much repair, and you shoot everything at night, and you get some makeup, you put some makeup on people, and slam some doors and add some low bass tones in post-production, and you're well on your way to making a paranormal thriller, right?
Yeah, and horror's just so like adaptable to, like through the decades. You can kind of turn anything into a horror story.
Oh yeah.
You know, right? So
Cats.
it's kind of cool like that. Yeah.
So
Hey, there is horror movies about cats for
There's,
sure,
oh,
right?
man.
So
yeah, so I think that's kind of everything that I can. Is there anything else you feel you need to touch on?
man,
Jordan?
I just started ranting, dude, and just talking. Like I could talk I could talk all night
Yeah.
about horror, but
Well, and we'll
yeah,
definitely
like-
have you on again at some point, and you know, and we can dive deeper, maybe like subgenres and
Oh, yeah,
stuff like that.
yeah, I didn't get into any of that stuff. I wasn't too sure, right?
Yeah.
I don't know where to start. When someone asks me, so what? Like, oh, that just goes. I go in 100 directions. So.
Oh, sure.
Sorry for ranting, boys.
No.
I just
No, dude, you are a fountain of chocolate and knowledge.
like Willy Wonka.
Not
Willy
necessarily in that order, but
Wonka? Oh,
you know,
I'm not Augustus Gloop.
Augustus Gloop. Cool. So there's a thing that we typically do on the show, and I've been dying to do it because that's how we end our episodes. And we'll include you in this, Jordan. What'd you watch this week, Jordan? In the last 7 or so days, what films have
Hold on,
graced
let
your
me,
eyeballs?
So let me pull up my letterboxd here quick. So, okay, so yeah, like I said before, I was watching that The Gollum movie.
Yep.
I was trying to check that one out, which I'm not finished yet, so I'm not going to talk much about that one. But I started watching a film called Repo, the Genetic Opera. And
Oh.
it's a horror musical about... It's like a dystopian future. This city, I don't really know where they are. It's kind of run down and run by this organization, this family that of organ donors, Dorgan owners.
Dorgan owners. You know, if you or one of your loved ones own a Dorgan, then what you need is a Dorgan cleaner.
So what they do is they give organs to people in need of these organs, or they give they finance them out, and they finance out like breast implants and things like that to women that want breast implants, and so anyway they collect payments. So they finance them out and they collect payments. Well, if you don't make your payments, then they send out their repo men, and their repo men come and claim what is rightfully theirs. So you know, they're ripping out organs.
Do they literally claim their pound of flesh?
Sorry?
Do they literally claim their pound of flesh?
Everything just cut out there for a sec.
Ladies and gentlemen, technical difficulties.
Yeah, there's some... Is that on me?
No, I don't. It's the internet.
Was that
man.
on me? Yeah, they claim what's theirs. They do whatever they want. They're stealing organs. They're cutting out fake boobs, and all while this is happening, they're singing songs, right? So they're singing these macabre, gothic-like songs, and it's interesting. It's gory. It's a really cool, interesting concept. So I think
Cool.
that's neat.
Dang.
And then one more. I just watched a movie called The Furies, and it's not very good, guys. It's a Shudder original. Do you know what Shudder is?
No.
It's like the Netflix for horror.
Oh, okay.
So it's like a streaming service, but all thriller, horror, mystery, macabre, whatever. Anyway, this movie called The Furies is these women get captured. They get put into this forest, and they get hunted down by masked serial killers. And it's supposed to be like this new take on the slasher or something like that. It came out last year. It's not good. It's just not good. Yeah, it's for what we're thinking of. Yeah, you get pitted against a bunch of slasher killers in masks, and that sounds fun. Like never-ending fun, but it's not. It's actually kind of boring, and it kind of doesn't move fast, and it kind of falls apart, and they add elements in the story that just don't need to be there, and they kind of explaining away the situation, whereas I would have just preferred it if you left it alone and just murdered people. Like, I don't need to know why they're there, because it's ridiculous why they're there already.
And what's it called?
It's called The Furies.
Huh.
Furies.
Oh, okay. For a second, it sounded like you were describing Lost in Translation, and so
Oh,
it's a film Pete really likes. It's total garbage.
it's so good.
Awful film.
So good.
So bad. Pete,
Anyway, that's it for me.
Pete, what'd you watch?
Cool. This week is an anomaly for me. I usually just have time to watch the films we're reviewing, and that's about it. But I actually watched 2 films this week.
I would hope so, because it's been like 2 weeks since we've recorded. So
I know. So the first was actually my wife and I went down memory lane and watched it. I'm going to call it a classic. We watched Shrek 2. We've obviously seen it before, but it's a lot of fun. So good. I forgot how good it was.
it is.
We had a lot of fun watching it.
It's the last good Shrek movie.
It's the last Shrek. I've only seen the first 2. I haven't bothered carrying on. So
The fourth one's okay. The third one I've tried to watch several times, and I can never get through it.
I'd
okay.
like to revisit.
Yeah. But yeah, Shrek 2 was fun. We watched that. The other film we watched was... Actually, I just watched it with my film group, actually. I watched a film, and I only chose to watch it based on the actors. It has Tom Holland, Robert Pattinson, Bill Skarsgård. You probably all have heard of it. It's the 2020 The Devil All the Time.
Huh.
It wasn't a bad film. It just wasn't my favorite. I didn't give it the best ranking. It was a below a 5 for me. But I had trouble just ranking it because it wasn't a bad film per se. I just didn't particularly enjoy it. So those are the 2 films I watched.
Cool.
Yeah,
How about
that
you,
one
Brady?
sounds interesting.
Yeah.
God, I hope I can remember them all. Okay. Geez, you have no idea, man. So I watched, as was previously mentioned, I watched Unfriended and Unfriended
Right.
2.
Yep.
I watched Brother Bear.
Oh,
the
yeah.
Disney animated,
Yep.
which I didn't realize the dude voicing the bear, voicing
Okay.
like our main character, right? The douchey brother that gets turned into a bear.
Sure.
It's Joaquin Phoenix,
Right.
and I had no
Right.
idea. So I watched that. I watched. So this one's difficult for me.
Okay.
I watched the 2020 Secret Garden, because I love the original, I love the book, and I was really, really excited for this film. I shut it off at the 34-minute mark, and I will never revisit it because it was so bad.
Oh, wow.
Like they removed full characters. They just made a lot of really weird creative decisions. So to hell with that. I got to show a group of people one of my favorite films for the very first time.
Cats. Oh,
yeah,
wow.
yeah. No, Lost in Translation.
Yeah. Hey.
And it just kind of cemented for me. Like, I watched it. It was one of those, I watched it Friday night. Yeah, Friday
Okay.
night. And then come Sunday night,
Okay.
2 nights later, I was thinking to myself and said to one of the people I had watched it with, I was like, honestly, I could watch it again already. Like it's over 2.5 hour long film, and I'm like, but I'm already poised to sit and watch it again. And
Can I guess what it is?
Yeah.
It's probably not this, but this could apply. Titanic.
It's not Titanic. No.
Okay.
No, sorry. Walk the Line.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And I
Yeah.
just watched it, and I was like, this
Fantastic.
is such a masterpiece. Like,
It is.
it's so good.
I've been trying to get Jess to watch that for time now.
Oh, man. And we watched the extended edition. I recommend the extended edition. So that, I watched Christopher Robin with Ewan McGregor.
Yes.
Very good. and gets you in all the spots.
Get you in the dude. I was gonna start crying at the start.
All the spots of film should get you. It gets you.
As soon as I saw Winnie, I was like,
I know. And he does the exercise song, and you're like,
Eeyore. I was like, oh, sad old Eeyore.
So good, so good.
Poor
I watched The Conjuring, and I watched Annabelle, one of which I highly recommend. Highly recommend.
It's not the stupid creepy doll one, is it?
No. Honestly, The Conjuring was so good,
Yeah.
and based on a true story.
The Warrens.
A alleged true story. Yeah, the Warrens.
The Warrens.
And so that's creepy. And so then looked up, and the Annabelle doll does actually exist, but in real life, it's a Raggedy Ann doll.
Raggedy Ann. Yeah,
so
they got
that's,
notes all around it, right?
Creepy as shit. And that's it. I think that's all I watched.
No,
I never know what. I never know what to admire more, your tenacity or the ability that you get to watch that many films. I never know what to admire.
Which is crazy because I'm watching more films now that I'm back in school and super stressed out and I don't have any time to do anything. I'm just watching movies left, right, and center, man.
Right.
Whereas back in the summer, I during summer holidays, I couldn't seem to find the time.
I have to you got to do what you love to do, right? Like I can't go to sleep without watching like 20 minutes of a movie. Like I have to. I just feel like I gotta watch something.
Yeah.
Some part of a movie.
That's what the experts say. Fall asleep in front of a screen. Right.
Whenever I need to fall asleep, I just put on Tomorrowland and I'm out in 3 minutes.
Tomorrowland is a fantastic movie. What are you
Me
insinuating?
and Brady just put on Lost in Translation.
Exactly. Thank you. You are welcome on this show anytime you'd like to come on.
I tried to watch Tomorrowland, and the person I watched it with, we literally just stopped and ran away and never came back.
I saw this movie in the theater with Carl Eastman, and we both have raved about it ever since. It's so good. So good. Tomorrowland.
With George Clooney?
George Clooney, man.
The one and only.
And Hugh Laurie, because why not?
I've never seen that one.
It's worth it. It's fun. It's got a fun, don't listen to Pete. Pete liked Lost in Translation, so his,
Is it as good as The Day After Tomorrow?
I mean, it's a very different film.
Well, they both have tomorrow.
They both have tomorrow in it. Yeah, I get,
What
and
about,
only one of them
guys,
only one of them has Dennis Quaid.
What about Tomorrow Never Dies?
Ooh.
We're getting there.
Ooh, we'll get there.
We're getting
It's coming.
there.
It's coming.
Yeah.
Anyways, as was said at the beginning of the show, there's all kinds of links down in the in the doobly-doo down below. And if you don't follow us on social media, we're going to show up at your door and cram candy corn into your mouth.
Oh, you wouldn't like that.
Aggressively. And then, we'll do that thing that people do to cats when they want them to swallow their medication. We'll just kind of massage the underside of your jaw. Yeah.
Right. Yes.
Okay.
I have a lot of cats that I need to do that to right now. So.
All right. Well,
thanks for listening.
Thank you for joining us, Jordan. You should do it again. You should do it again next week.
Oh,
yeah. What are you doing next week?
No, what? I'll try and keep my my ranting down, so I'll work on that, and I'll see you guys next week on here.
I will have my Freddy Krueger pop figure with me. Because why not?
Oh, you got a pop? You got a pop guy? What are those?
Yeah,
pops?
one of the little, black-eyed
Funko
beauties.
dolls?
Yeah, the vinyl pop things. Yeah. Yeah, it's not a doll, it's an action figure.
I'll wear my shirt. I got to really kick butt. Can I say kick? Can I say the A word on here?
Kick ass, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know what podcast I'm on.
I don't know either.
Half the time I don't either.
Yeah.
Cool.
I've got Freddy Krueger socks.
Yes.
So that might happen.
Are they red and green?
They sure are. And kind of like a muddy distressed kind of
Okay.
thing on them. Yeah.
We'll get into that next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pete's like, I gotta go to bed.
Yeah, I'm gonna go buy some frig, man. All right.
Me and Brady are raring to go, and Pete's like, all right, boys,
All right,
it's
hell with this.
dying.
Let's save some for next week.
You're such a Nancy, Pete. You'll get that
Pete-
next week.
Pete, this
Okay.
is why you don't watch movies, because you just don't got time for nothing.
Just don't. Yeah. Ain't nobody got time for that.